And so to the Italian Grand Prix itself, the two Ferraris filling the second row, the McLarens filling the front row as Prost got the jump on Senna at the start of the Monza event. But Senna tried to go back, down the inside and into lead goes Ayrton Senna. Into the first corner, Prost in second place, then Berger, then Alboreto, so Ferrari's third and fourth. As the rest of the field struggles through the first chicane, Senna in the Monza Great Park, ahead of his rival Prost, and the two Ferraris threatening as they did right the way through this event. And bouncing over the curbs there, the normally aspirated cars, as Senna really piles on the power, the Honda engine, and the Ferraris attempted to keep up. Boutsen was again well up at Monza in the atmospheric engine DFR, Benetton Ford, and Senna coming up towards the end of the first lap, already pulling out a big gap on Alain Prost in second place, and then Gerhard Berger not losing touch in the Ferrari, and nor was Michele Alboreto.
It's really important that the Ferrari should do well here in front of their home crowd, because the Italians are so passionately fond of motor racing. If you're driving an Italian car, you are automatically a hero.
Alboreto bouncing over the curbs there, and someone else bounced straight into the sand trap. It was Nelson Piquet, number one, the world champion, was out of the Italian Grand Prix, stuck in the sand trap. And another driver went off in exactly the same way but didn't get caught out. That was Luis Perez Sala in the Minardi, and he managed to regain the track. But Prost was already in engine problems with a weak mixture on the Honda engine. Berger was closing in at this point, about to snatch second place from him. In the meantime, Prost had been radioing back to his pit that he was going to come in. Probably it was terminal. Berger snatched second place, and the Italian fans, the Tifosi, went absolutely berserk. Fantastic sight for them, the blood-red Ferrari in second place after all their problems. But the McLaren of Prost was heading towards the pits. I think the engineers were already speaking to Senna.
Yes, Senna was sent out the message to richen up, which he did right away, and therefore, of course, had to go a little bit more slowly because he knew he was going to take a bit more fuel.
There was Prost into the pits. The engine problems were terminal. So that was the end of his event. In the meantime, Senna richened the mixture on the Honda engine. Senna still leading the Italian Grand Prix. McLaren driver then made that mistake. He tried to go past Jean-Louis Schlecher, but he got it wrong.
That, of course, thrilled the Ferrari fans. They thought it was just great, but quite honestly, he made an error of judgment because, although Schlecher did everything he could to get out of the way, it wasn't possible, and unfortunately, they touched. So I think really Senna had to be held responsible for deciding to go just there. He could have waited a little bit longer.
That, of course, meant Ferraris were now 1 and 2, first and second in the Italian Grand Prix. Let's watch it again. Schlecher tries to stay on the left, right out of the way, and even goes over the sand himself, but Senna just drives across his bows, forgot about him momentarily, and paid the price.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate because Schlecher couldn't possibly have done anything else other than perhaps get stuck in the shale there.
Gerhard Berger on his way to victory in the Italian Grand Prix on the last lap, but Michele Alboreto at this point was closing in. It was a Ferrari 1-2, and Alboreto had just set the fastest lap, so the crowd were really tingling on their feet, cheering and shouting. Fantastic. First and second at Monza, the first time there's been a Ferrari victory at Monza since 1979 and Jody Scheckter.
That really, I think, was tremendous to see the Ferraris 1-2 and still charging. That's the great thing.
The Arrows drivers were third and fourth, and Capelli fifth, and Boutsen sixth. But in the McLaren football match, the score remained the same. But the Ferrari drivers were absolutely delighted.
It's for Mr. Ferrari and myself, for both together, and for Ferrari generally.
At the end there, you were catching Ayrton, Michele was catching you. What was your situation?
There was quite a lot of pressure from Michele, and I saw Ayrton, and I said, so it's the first time I can give pressure him, and it works.
No, it was a great day for Ferrari today, and I think it's the best to remember Mr. Ferrari.